Hello, my name is Derek Cross. I am a student at Colorado State University Global Campus within the Org 515 Dynamics of Power and Organizations course led by Dr. Cedric Alford. This presentation is an analysis of office politics using a real-world organization as a case study. We will begin with a brief introduction to the case study organization, followed by an initial definition of both power and politics within the context of a professional working environment. Next, we will discuss the major factors that contribute to the political environment within the case study organization, then analyze the strategies used by effective leaders to navigate the organizational landscape. We will then discuss example scenarios where the use of politics may be necessary, before discussing the role played by leadership in the political climate, and finally drawing wider conclusions about the lessons learned from the case study. The company to be used as a case study example is my current employer, JB Group, and is located in St. Michael, Minnesota. JB Group is a provider of protein products through multiple revenue streams, such as meat manufacturing and processing, wholesale distribution partnerships, on-site cold storage facilities, and third-party logistics management. JB serves both retail grocery and restaurant markets across the central United States. The company has been family-owned since 1980 and employs over 700 associates. Since its inception, JB has promoted a culture of positivity and respect for all. In addition to operational excellence and continuous improvement, JB's core values include empowering associates, going beyond customer satisfaction to provide customer delight, and acting as a force for good through providing acts of service within the local community. Before analyzing power in the political environment, it is helpful to define exactly what these concepts mean in this context. In a professional working environment, Kagwanja et al. Define power as the ability to influence the behavior of others or to shape the course of events. Power can be held formally through positions of authority or control and access to information, or informally through unique personal traits such as charisma, subject matter expertise, or prestige. Politics is the mechanism through which power or influence is gained within an organization. Dalal writes that individuals working with an organization want to not only survive, but to thrive, and this inherent desire for survival and success naturally creates competition and political activity. There are three primary factors that contribute to organizational politics at JB Group. The first is the availability of resources like project funding and expert personnel. Tripathi and Tripathi write that power can more easily grant access to these resources and is therefore valued highly by individuals who seek that control or access. These resources can have a major impact on performance metrics for a department, so having critical KPIs at stake can certainly increase political activity. The second primary factor contributing to organizational politics at JB Group is the organizational structure. There are a limited number of positions that wield formal authority and decision-making power. According to Skolik and Karchuska, concentrating power can limit the free sharing of knowledge as well as collaborative tendencies between leaders and followers. However, empowering employees can have the opposite effect, increasing the distribution of knowledge and collaboration between leaders of the organization. The final primary factor contributing to organizational politics at JB Group is internal networking and relationship building. This is the development of strategic relationships across functional groups or departments, where leaders can exchange resources or favors with each other. Athar writes that when implemented in a healthy way, these relationships between leaders or departments can create mutually beneficial advantages for each party. To uphold JB's cultural values of positivity and respect for all, the most effective leaders adopt three strategies when navigating the political environment of the organization. The first strategy is objectively prioritizing value creation when discussing resource allocation. This requires leaders to make a conscious shift in mentality, from me versus you to us versus the problem. Effective leaders across the organization agree that project resources should be prioritized based on how much value can be returned to the organization, regardless of whether it originates from their department or not. Dong and Chu write that prioritizing project based on potential value is a critical factor in overcoming the formidable obstacles presented by resource conflicts. The second strategy used by effective leaders is bridging gaps between silos. Here, leaders proactively create connections between their department and others based on collaboration and knowledge sharing. According to Walker, establishing these regular collaborative interactions can prevent duplication of efforts and aid in the development of a common language and terminology across the organization. The final strategy used by effective leaders at JB Group is the creation and development of genuine personal relationships across the organization. Berman writes that a foundation of trust is required for professional relationships and can even deliver better performance for the organization. These trustworthy connections can help prevent feelings of manipulation or political posturing during times of tension or crisis. Occasionally, it becomes necessary to engage in political activity. One example is during project selection and prioritization meetings. As previously discussed, leadership prioritizes an objective selection of projects based on value provided to the company. Finding clever ways to demonstrate how work can provide additional value beyond the ROI through contributions to strategic goals and alignment with the core values of the company is an important skill in ensuring that projects receive the resources they need to succeed. Another example is during change management processes. Fearing writes that periods of major change create a volatile environment that lacks a clear vision and alignment. Using the strategy of developing connections between silos and genuine personal relationships between leaders can create an easier path to alignment and ultimately a smoother transition throughout the change process. A final scenario where the use of politics may be necessary is during conflict resolution. In times of tension or conflict, developing genuine personal relationships becomes more difficult, so having pre-existing relationships can be helpful by allowing for more open and honest feedback. Yildiz writes that this can convert the conflict into productive discussions and help foster greater respect between the two parties. In the end, these pre-existing personal relationships can help the conflicting parties not only resolve their issues more effectively, but to emerge with a stronger relationship than there was before. The Executive Leadership Team, or ELT, at JB Group plays a critical role in the political climate of the organization. First and foremost, the ELT leads by example. They model the ideal behaviors that they want employees to emulate. There is no rules for thee, but not for me here. They ensure that their actions are always aligned with the core values of the company, which Samara claims is an important factor in follower responsiveness to both change and behavior. Next, the ELT helps oversee the fair allocation of resources. The organization benefits from ensuring that allocation is based on transparent and consistent criteria using value and merit as metrics. This helps to reduce competition between internal departments or feelings of favoritism, preventing conflict in the workplace. Finally, the ELT empowers their employees to make decisions, freely suggests new ideas for improvements, and encourages them to seek development opportunities through skills training and education opportunities. According to Chandra, this plays an important role in achieving success and efficient performance metrics. One unique thing about the ELT at JB Group is that they genuinely celebrate employee achievements at every level of the organization. Production milestones, sales goals, engineering crisis response times, and more are all publicly celebrated in ways that feel genuinely grateful to employees that did the work. This helps everyone at JB feel like their contributions matter and that they are valued by those at the highest level of the company. In conclusion, power and politics are two different but closely related concepts. Power and influence can be gained and wielded either formally through positions of authority or access to information, or informally through personal characteristics. Politics is simply the means by which power is gained. At our case study organization, JB Group, political activity centers around resource availability and allocation, organizational structure, and internal networking and relationships. Effective leaders navigate this complex political environment by prioritizing value creation for the entire organization instead of just for their own team or department, bridging gaps between silos, and by forming genuine personal relationships with others in the workplace. The executive leadership team walks the walk by modeling these ideal behaviors for others. They also ensure resources are allocated based on value and merit, preventing internal competition and feelings of favoritism. Lastly, they actively empower and celebrate employees at every level of the organization in a genuine way that demonstrates how valued each one of the 700 employees are. Together, this creates a political environment where politics avoid their typically negative connotation. They are not sneaky or predatory, but a toolset that can be used to benefit the larger organization and keep JB Group on a successful trajectory that can be sustained for years to come. The cited references will follow shortly. Thank you for listening and have a great day.